A lot of people love the Assassin, but some people are getting bored of the absolutely broken Mosaic Assassin. I've heard from a lot of people that actually like ruin the game for them because it's so busted. Maybe you're just sick of playing the same old Lightning Trap Assassin. You want to try something a little bit different. Well, it's kind of new to Diablo 2 Resurrected, back in some of the changes when they went ahead and rebalanced some of the skills. Today, we're talking about the Fire Trap Assassin. Now, this build utilizes Wake of Fire Trap along with some other stuff that makes the Lightning Trap Assassin absolutely godly as well. So let's go ahead and jump in. We'll take a look at the stats page. We'll go ahead and take a look at the skill tree, and then we'll go over the gear, and I'll show you some example gameplay at the end to show you exactly how much this thing rocks. Now, this is not necessarily the end-all be-all for the Fire Trap Assassin. This is how I went ahead and put mine together, and it works really good. You're going to see how good it works later. Feel free to swap out any gear pieces or anything on the build that you see fit. Now, for the stats page, we got the strength up to 156. That's, of course, to wear our, spoiler alert for later, a Monarch on our shield. I actually didn't have to put any base points into this, just the way my gear fell. I threw the gear on, and bam, it landed exactly on 156. Dex, I put no extra points into it. Really, I just dumped every point I had into vitality. Go ahead and help out the survivability. You see, the resistances are not capped out. Now, I'm running places where there are no fire immunes, and they're pretty weak areas, going out there into different 85 areas. So if you would like to get your resistances up higher, you can supplement that later once you see the gear with charms or any other gear pieces you want to swap on. But personally, where I'm out running and you can work out really, really, really good, I don't really need to worry about the resistances personally. Now, for the skill tree, ignore the martial arts one. You don't need it. Shadow disciplines here. For me, anyways, the way that my build's set up, I actually went ahead and just dumped all these points right here into burst of speed. Maybe if you wanted more survivability type skills, you could go ahead and come over down to Mind Blast. I don't need it at all. Maybe some people like the 1 point into Fade in case they want to use it. Where I'm out here running and I'm on offline single player, if I ever wanted to, I could respec and put 1 point into that if I went to a place where I needed it, but I don't. Or let's say you decided to use claws, which you can kind of see from the character right up here. I'm not using claws. If you are, you could go ahead and put 1 point or even more points into a weapons block. That's going to be choices you make depending on your gear choices and where you want to run. You could even, if you want to, come down and get a point into Shadow Warrior or Shadow Master if you would like. But yeah, these are all things that I bypassed because I didn't need them. Now over on the traps part of the skill tree, this is where most of our points are going because this is like where all our damage comes from. So we're going to be using actually Wake of Fire. So we go ahead and cap that out, of course, and you see there's 2 synergies, 10% fire damage each. We're going to go ahead and cap those out with Wake of Inferno and, of course, Fire Blast. And you actually do use Fire Blast for kind of supplemental damage as well. That's how you can individually target monsters if you would like. But you, of course, want to utilize the Corpse Explosion from Death Sentry. Now, you don't have to cap this out. Really, this can be a 1 point wonder, but I kind of, the way I play and what I'm doing, I kind of ran out of places to go ahead and put more points. So really pumping more points in this, it does boost up the lightning damage, but it's kind of non-consequential. What it does is boost up the radius there on that particular skill. So I just decided to pump the points into there. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of other options that I felt would help out the build, running it out where I would prefer to run it. All these other ones are just 1 point wonders to go ahead and get down to the Death Sentry. So now over to the exciting part, the part everybody's waiting for, the gear. I went with Heart of the Oak. You get 3 skills to help out your damage, of course. You get the All Res and the FCR. Now, traps are thrown down on increased attack speed frames, so the FCR doesn't help with that, but it does only pretty much the way I play anyways, help out with your teleport frame, so you teleport around faster. Of course, if you want to go more along with the lore of the game, you want to actually use claws on your assassin, throwing on something budget like Bartuk's Cutthroat is an okay option. Maybe you're incredibly rich, or you get super lucky and you want to get some crazy magic claws like this. Could you imagine finding something with 6 to Wake of Fire and 6 to Lightning Sentry, so you could use it on lightning builds or this fire build? Insane. But more likely, if you could find something, it's going to be more like one of these rare claws right here, getting an extra skill more than the Heart of the Oak and kind of going along with the lore for the assassin using actual claws. Now over on the shield, you might think it's a Spirit or something to get more damage that way, but actually, if you can afford it, Spirit is an okay option. But getting a Phoenix shield, Vex Loja, I know, expensive, but minus 28 to enemy fire res, and actually so helpful having that redemption aura. I don't need to worry about an insight. I don't need to worry about chugging potions. I don't need to put any points into mana. So this shield, absolutely amazing on this particular build. So if you can afford it, sure. If not, maybe it's a secondary claw if you're going that route, or perhaps a Spirit shield. Up on the helmet, I decided personally, you can make this choice if you want to, go with the Harlequin's Crest, the Shaco. all the skills, life, magic find, of course. There's a very obvious other option for fire traps. That's going to be the flickering flame. It will give you some more minus fire res, can help out your damage a little bit more. This is going to be one of those situations where it depends where you're farming and depends what you want to do. But flickering flame, a very excellent option, and probably a lot of people would choose to go with that. I decided to go with the Harlequin's Crest. On the armor, we're going with the Enigma. Even if you're not using teleport, if you are running around, it still has 45% faster run walk. Of course, the skills, all that strength, that's why I didn't have to put 8 points into it. All the magic find, life after each kill. Great option here, the Enigma. Gloves, Mage Fist, actually great. Sometimes 1 to fire skills, you usually think just the sorceress, but Wake of Fire is a fire skill, so you get 1 to your fire skills there. The FCR gets us teleporting a little bit faster, gets us up to a particular breakpoint. I don't quite get up to 102, but you just need to get over 65 FCR actually, so that kind of helps us get to that with the Mage Fist right here. Jumping over to the belt also to kind of help us get up there. We got the Erected's Mesh here. We're not using the Spirit Shield, so we need to make up that FCR if we want to teleport around at all. So we got 20 FCR there, but we do, of course, get 1 to all skills as well. Now for the rings, a lot of characters you're going to want to get cannot be frozen. I decided to get it here from the Ravenfrost, and then we also have the Stone of Jordan. Cannot be frozen is going to be more crucial on the assassin than it is like a lot of other elemental damage dealers, because like I said, it goes down on the increased attack speed. So if you are frozen, you're throwing those traps like you're stuck in mud. It's going so slow. You got to have cannot be frozen here. Over on the boots, there of course is going to be a ton of other options. I have this rare pair right here, so use your best pair of rare boots. Maybe you want to make up for the fire res if you have a Fire Sunday on, so you could throw some Alder's boots over here. War Travelers, or of course there are those Shadow Dancers that are specifically for the assassin if you want to go that route. Up on the amulet, I have this rare amulet. I didn't need any more FCR up here. I have some caster amulets that have FCR if you need to make that up, but a huge 29 to strength, 11 dex. We got the lightning res made up, but 2 to assassin skills and magic find. A pretty amazing rare amulet that I did find for this particular build. No shocker here over on swap. We got Call to Arms and we have the Spirit Monarch. Down in the inventory, of course, we got trap skillers all across. So if you can get all trap skillers, go ahead and do it. I have a Geeds, a Torch, and an Annie. You do notice I have no Sunder Charm. It depends where you want to go out and farm. You could easily throw a Sunder Charm down in here, but you'd have to find somewhere to make up more of that fire res, perhaps on the boots. Perhaps you have to take the gloves off and get some res over there, or swap out some charms if you want to make that stuff up. Or perhaps even up on the amulet, toss on a Mara's or something. Down underneath, I always go with 7 Magic Find small charms, perhaps taking some Magic Find off. This is a place you could make up that res. And now over on the Mercenary, I decided to go with Might, because that way you could get a body down faster. So when you do throw down the Death Sentry, you have bodies to start popping, to start blowing up and clearing even faster. You don't necessarily want Cold, because you both want the bodies to go ahead and have the Death Sentry use the Corpse Explosion mechanism, but also you're going to have your Phoenix Shield and your Redemption, which then that'll bring back mana and life with the dead corpses around. If they shatter, your Redemption and your Death Sentry don't have anything to work off of. I didn't really test it out. I guess you might be able to go with the Prayer if you wanted to, kind of take advantage of the Prayer like cure synergy there a little bit. I haven't tested it out. I don't know how well it will work on this particular build, if needed at all or whatever, but just shouting that out. Now I decided to go with Infinity over here. Obviously the Conviction Aura helping out the fire damage and helping out the Corpse Explosion part, and beyond that is just a great weapon for the Act 2 Mercenary. Now you might have picked it up when I mentioned about the Prayer Cure synergy, the cleansing and prayer actually, but I decided to go with this Cleansing Aura on the cure just so I could get rid of the poison damage. The places that I kind of like to run with this particular thing, you kind of get poisoned sometimes, and actually poisoned a lot. It's real annoying. So going up here with Cure and going with Chains of Honor works out absolutely great. Now other options on your Act 2 Mercenary, if you decide to go with the Act 2 Mercenary, of course an Insight over here to keep up your mana if you don't have the Redemption Aura could definitely work out as a great option right there. Helmet, you can go with Andarl's Visage and Fortitude, or the Helmet Armor combo, also a more budget option, Tal Rasha's, and of course the Treachery. Now we do have this on Player 7 difficulty. We'll go ahead and test her here at Eldritch and Shank. Now we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 Death Sentry, and then we want to throw fire bombs at them too, so we can get a body or 2 taken out. That way we can go ahead and have some corpses to explode. And boom, 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 down the pack goes right there. Remember, this is Player 7 difficulty. We'll hit one more area here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And then throw our fire bombs, taking out some monsters right there. Those fire bombs actually do a ton of damage, so make sure you're using those. Make sure you're using those, so rip them right down, no problem. And we'll move on to another area that this works very well. This is obviously an easy place to test it. Let's go ahead in 85 area where you can find every unique in the game. That is right out here, of course, the Stony Tombs. This is still player 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Throw the fire bombs at the monsters, and you see how fast and easy it clears this area. Like I said, this is an 85 area. You can find the same stuff in here that you could find in the Cast Sanctuary, that you could find in the pits, that you could find in the ancient tunnels. So let's find a little more dense area. Jeez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Throw some fire bombs. Just ripping them right out. So as for regular farming areas, doesn't get much harder than this. That is, unless, of course, you hop into an area that has just a ton of fire immunes, then you'd have to throw on the Sunder Charm, which you can go ahead and handle that pretty dang good because we do have a significant amount of minus res between the Phoenix and between the Infinity. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just one more time here just to go ahead and show you with the creeping feature. We got the Spectral Shard. And why not we go with the final room here just to go ahead and clear it out, the whole tomb. Good old laying of hands. Maybe that's another way you can make up for the fire res you miss on the Sunder Charm and also increase attack speed. Well, let's go ahead and try her out in some monsters with some big life here. How about some cows? Still player 7 difficulty, by the way. See if we can go ahead and take some of these guys out. Survivability is going to be a little bit of a struggle because I didn't exactly stack up a bunch of that. I mean, consider this player 7 cows work pretty dang good. I'm gonna stay away from that particular aura right there. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Bring our bring our mercenary back. Throw some of these fire bombs so we can get some bodies popping. And maybe we'll just throw down a couple more traps here. Probably just throw a bunch of Death Sentry traps here to get a bunch of corpse explosions. Tossing bombs from deep. Immune to fire. We'll go ahead and move on. Don't worry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Move away. Mercenary's getting beat up a little bit here, but yeah, this actually clears relatively decent. Is it the new Mosaic Assassin? No. New Hamburton? Probably not, but yeah, really good. And you could get more damage out of it, like I said, if you went ahead with the Flickering Flame and stuff. I'm hunting for that Tyrell's Might. I would usually stick to 85 areas like the Stony Tombs to try to find that, but if you're going other places, you can definitely do that. So if you don't want to use that build that completely busted the game, the Mosaic Assassin, or the old school Lightning Trap Assassin, do try this one out. It's a little bit different flavor, and I think it's really fun to play. Let me know any gear choices or build choices that you enjoy doing differently on this. And before you take off, don't forget, keep slaying.